Ooh, what's up, nerds and geeks? My name is OMG, WTF, LOL, FTW, BRB. Welcome back to more Total Extreme Wrestling 2016. We are playing as the WWF, and we are currently in the year of 2001, and we're booking the inVasion angle. But finally, we are booking the inVasion pay-per-view. inVasion pay-per-view is probably in my top 5, maybe even my top 3 pay-per-views of all time, because I can only really think of 3 pay-per-views off the top of my head right now, which would be Royal Rumble 2001. At least I think it was 2001. How bad is that I can't remember my own favorite pay-per-view? But Royal Rumble 2001, or at least the one that Triple H won, it had to have been 2001, because this is when Jericho became, I knew I was right. WrestleMania 17, and the inVasion angle. So around this, the 2000 era was probably my favorite time of wrestling, now that I think about it. Either way, I've been super excited to book this, and something that I've always kind of thought was interesting is actually something that Chris Omega, the guy who helps me book, my buddy, he helps me book Monday Night Raw. He's actually been going on the WWE Network, and maybe I might actually get the network now. But he's been going on the network and watching like past Raws and SmackDowns during the inVasion angle era, and kind of comparing them to the shows that we've been doing. And something I think I'd like to do is compare some of my shows like SummerSlam and mostly the pay-per-views with the other pay-per-views, especially inVasion. And something actually I think I'm going to ask you guys to do, and this might be a pretty bold statement, but no matter what this show's grade is, it could be an F minus or it could be an A-star show. No matter what the show grade is, let me know your personal opinion below in the comment section on how this show was and if it was better or worse than the actual inVasion pay-per-view, because I will openly admit that this is a vastly different pay-per-view than what we were presented in real life. Either way, nerds and geeks, enough stalling, enough jibber-jabbering. Let's finally get to this pay-per-view. So we're going to have a total of 2 pre-show matches, mostly because one, I think I said I was going to have it in Florida. Then again, maybe Florida's in the Mid-Atlantic region. I'm honestly not entirely sure. I'm going to bet it is, because usually the weekly things like to keep it there. But either way, 71,000 people, big crowd, Mid-Atlantic, we're in Florida, that's what we're going with. But since, Sunday Night Heat is booked on Wednesdays, we've had to kind of do our own little thing, and because of that, we are going to have to book some people who might have been booked on Sunday Night Heat still tonight, because they're going to get mad if we don't book them on one of the historic shows like inVasion is listed as. But Rhino wasn't on Sunday Night Heat anyway, but he was upper mid-carder, and I think it's upper mid-carder and above, which would mean main eventers and upper mid-carders. Get angry if you don't put them on historic shows. So either way, we have Rhino, who is actually kayfabe injured right now. Decent wrestling, but not much Wayne Heat. Rhino defeating the one Billy Gunn with a pile driver. I'm going to have to check your moveset, Rhino, because I'm pretty sure you're supposed to be using the Gore. Either way, Rhino had a B- to Billy Gunn's D+, and no worker improvements. And our main event of the pre-show gets a B, a straight B. I don't know what I usually say. For some reason, I blanked out. But we get a straight B, and we have a pre-show bout that had decent wrestling, but not much Wayne Heat. Team WWF's Kane, Rikishi, Scotty 2 Hotty, Bubba Ray Dudley, and Devon Dudley defeating WCW's Gregory Helms, Chronic, and Mark Jindrak and Sean Stasiak. And it was in 14 minutes and 34 seconds. Gregory Helms was the first superstar eliminated. I'd like to imagine maybe going out with like a choke slam, possibly. We then go to Scotty 2 Hotty, which I'd like to imagine Mark Jindrak eliminated him, because he'd be the one I want to focus on. I'd imagine Sean Stasiak going down to a 3D. Brian Adams probably falling to Rikishi. And then I don't know why this is happening. I'm pretty sure I had Mark Jindrak take the fall, but I guess it does its own thing. But let's just imagine for a second that Brian Clark got eliminated with Brian Adams. Let's say Kane got a double chokeslam, eliminated them both, and then Mark Jindrak was finally eliminated after a 3D from the Dudley Boys to stand tall. Actually, Kane got the final one, so it would probably be a chokeslam. So pretty much cleaned them out. Scotty 2 Hotty, the only superstar eliminated, from Team WWF here. So a lot of you may be asking yourselves, and this is only if you didn't watch Sunday Night Heat, why the hell is Kane on the pre-show? Well, if you didn't watch Sunday Night Heat, we had a huge angle where Kane was actually knocked out and taken to the emergency room and will not be able to compete tonight. Somebody from Team WCW, maybe a turncoat, or one of the traitors that Shane McMahon is hinting to, took Kane out. We don't know who. The Undertaker seemed to think it was Big Show, but Vince McMahon, he thinks it was all 5 members of Team WCW. Obviously, Kane is fine. That's why he's here. But he would have been mad if I didn't book him, so there you go. So Regal did good work ringside because he's the manager. Jindrak is getting better at his gimmick, as is Sean Stasiak. Kane looked excellent out there. You can even tell right here, he was head above shoulders everybody else. The Dudleys had a C+, Scotty had a D+, Rikishi had a C, Kane had an A, Gregory Helms had a D+, and Stasiak and Jindrak had a C-, Brian Clark had a C-, and Brian Adams had a C-. All in all, pretty good match, I would say. B-star, or not a B-star. Yeah, B-star. B rating, not too bad. Sean Stasiak improving in performance. Good stuff. So let's go to the start of the show, which we open up to a match. We get another straight B, just a B rating, and about that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. The Hardy Boys defeating the team, or the WCW team, I should say, of Kanyon and Hugh Morris in 11 minutes and 39 seconds when Jeff Hardy defeated Hugh Morris with the Twist of Fate Swanton Bomb combo, making their 3rd defense of the WCW World Tag Team titles. So the hot streak, I don't know if you'd call it a hot streak, but the streak of Hugh Morris and Kanyon as a team has come to an end. No matter, the antics they pulled or all the fun they have. Obviously, I have changed Hugh Morris's picture to kind of fit his more persona that we are giving him. And we're also giving him a gimmick change. I'm actually committing to Hugh Morris now instead of just using him as a jobber. Because I kind of like this team right here. So we have them go under still after Matt Hardy hits the Twist of Fate. Jeff gets the tag. Swanton Bomb. 1, 2, 3. Retaining the titles. Of course, they have excellent chemistry. Not enough psychology, unfortunately. Announcing quality is lifting the match. Got the show off to a strong start, which we look into our booking details. Where is it at? Is it not in this one? Is it in Road Agent? It is. I had them work the crowd here. And Jeff Hardy, wow. Jeff Hardy had an in-ring performance of an A? Hell yeah. What, he'd take another dive off the a ladder like he did against RVD? That was a great match, by the way. Matt Hardy had a B+, Kanyon had a B-, and Hugh Morris had a C+. So it kind of fell perfectly. If it would have just been Kanyon had a B and Hugh Morris had a B-, it'd have been perfect. A, B+, B. Either way, Jeff Hardy had a A in-ring performance. That's impressive. We can handle our changes, and we have a gimmick change. He's going from being an old school heel to now more of a comedian character. They got a rating of an average, but hey, Hugh Morris, at least you're getting booked now. No worker improvements, but a good start to the show. And we go to our next segment, which gets another B rating. And what the hell is going on here? The match is over. Hardy Boys, they're celebrating their title defense over, Morris and Kanyon. They have Lita with them. They're all celebrating. And then out of nowhere, we have guys in ski masks come running in from the crowd, completely demolishing Jeff and Matt Hardy, taking them out. And then they stand tall over the Hardy Brothers, hold the WCW tag team titles in the air, and rip off their ski masks to reveal it's Rick and Scott Steiner, the Steiner Brothers. The Steiner Brothers are now in the WWF, and, not in the WWF, they're in WCW. Shane McMahon has brought the Steiner Brothers in, and they've made their intentions clear. They're coming for their property, practically. So Scott Steiner has debuted as a loose cannon. He got an above average. Rick Steiner had a badass gimmick. His is average. Announcing quality lifted its segment, color commentary, blah, blah, blah. Got the crowd hotter. Unfortunately, Rick performed poorly in this segment. Before we move on here, Nerds and Geeks, I want to establish something. So I don't know what was going in the Mod's mind here. Creator's mind here. That's what I was trying to say. I don't know if he was just thinking, I'm only going to do teams that are current, but that doesn't make sense because he has Jericho and Lance Storm, so never mind. But the Rick Steiners, the Steiner Brothers weren't listed as a tag team, so despite them having numerous tag team title reigns and practically their entire careers being a team together, they have like F- experience with each other, which is retarded. Hopefully they don't have negative chemistry, or else I'll just be completely pissed. But the Steiners debut, and if you're curious about their current pushes, Scott Steiner is actually a main eventer, and Rick Steiner is a mid-card talent. So there you have it. So we move on to an A-star segment. Hell yeah, this show is going really good right now. A-star segment. We're backstage. We have Vince McMahon. He's along with Team WWF, or at least what's left of them, of course, being The Rock, Jericho, Taker, and Show after Kane was taken out. And let me take a drink real quick as we get ready to do our Vince McMahon. Okay. Okay, guys. We're in a tough spot now. In case you haven't heard by now, The Undertaker found Kane unconscious on Sunday Night Heat, knocked out and unresponsive. He was taken to the emergency room and won't be back tonight. So as it stands right now, unless I can find a replacement for Kane, we're going into this elimination tag match already down 4-5. So I really need all 4 of you to really work together tonight. Don't buy into all that traitor crap my son is trying to sell us. You 4 are a unit. I'll fill you guys in if I find a replacement. I was trying to figure out what the hell I was trying to say there. If I find a replacement. But if you don't hear from me then remember, unit. And that ends that angle. The crowd, camera fades away pretty much. Undertaker came across well, got the crowd hotter, and we move on to our next segment, which is another match. Gets another B rating, hell yes, and a decent match. Lance Storm defeating Lance Storm defeating Edge and Christian in a triple threat match in 12 minutes and 36 seconds when he defeated Christian. Ignore that, not the last call. I will explain what happens here. You'll say he won by pinfall during the match. Also ignore this. This isn't real. This is just my way of, showing, that Edge accidentally hits Christian. Like I said, I'll get to it. Lance Storm has made his 6th defense of the WCW Canadian Championship. So allow me to explain what happened here. I'd imagine this match being very open, back and forth. Lance Storm actually looking the weakest out of the two. Edge and Christian probably looking like they're going to pick up the victory many times. And then I have Edge setting up to spear Lance Storm. As he's running at him to spear him, Lance Storm moves. Edge spears Christian. Lance Storm hits Edge with the last call super kick, then covers Christian. 1, 2, 3, picks up the victory, causing a little bit of further tension between the two, the tag team here between Edge and Christian. And, because now Edge is the reason why Christian lost, and Lance Storm retains his title. So Christian was off his game. Of course, JR and all that, but we're not going to really announce and talk about that. Edge had an in-ring performance of a C+, as did Christian, and Lance Storm was the superior in this match at a B-, which is kind of surprising because I believe both Edge and Christian are upper mid-carders, and Lance Storm's like a mid-card talent. No worker improvements there, unfortunately, but either way, solid match. We then go to an A rating, not an A-star, but an A rating, still pretty good. Backstage, we are with Shane McMahon and Team WCW, and Shane, he's just celebrating backstage. Yes, that's what I'm talking about, baby. Lance Storm with a successful defense of the WCW's Canadian Championship. But not only that, we saw the debut of Scott and Rick, the Steiner Brothers, one of the best tag teams and the baddest tag teams in WCW in wrestling history. One of my newest signings. What do you guys think? And then that's when you see everybody, every member of Team WCW, Ric Flair, of course. Actually, no, Ric Flair's there. Never mind, wrong person. We have, Booker, DDP, Benoit, Flair, and Ron Simmons. All of them are kind of just sitting there. Either they don't care. I'd imagine people like Ron Simmons not really caring, and Chris Benoit not really caring. But I'd imagine Ric Flair, DDP, and Booker T all being kind of upset. Like Booker T, of course, he beat Scott Steiner for the WCW World Championship. So, I mean, there's a little bit of tension there. DDP actually does not get along with Scott Steiner. I was surprised that he wasn't pissed off at me. Well, he was pissed at him as I signed him, but he's so happy that it didn't bother him that much. I mean, look at that smile. Benoit, like I said, probably doesn't care because he's been in WWF. Same with Ron Simmons. And I'd imagine Flair kind of being a little pissed off there. And they're all kind of, showing their feelings. And then Shane's like, guys, get it together. Steiner Brothers aside, I need you to stay focused. We may have more chips, not chops. We have more chips than my dad tonight. But we're going all in, boys. It's win or go home. And I need you all focused. I need you all at the top of your games. I need you all, for once and for all, to kill the WWF. And Ric Flair's getting better at his gimmick. That was the end of the segment right there. Nothing after that. I imagine, Team WCW just kind of nodding their heads like, yeah, he's right. And that ends that segment there with Rick getting better at his gimmick. We then go to an A-star segment, and we see Michael Cole. He's like, hello, everyone. Michael Cole here, and I'm at Triple H's locker room, hoping to get a word from him and his wife. He then knocks on the door, and Stephanie answers. You hear Triple H ask him who it is. Stephanie responds saying it's Cole. They both leave the room, and Cole says, Hunter, Steph, sorry for bothering you, but honestly, not many people expected to see you both here tonight, considering that you've both had to say, considering what you've both had to say about this war between Shane and your father. But since you're here, I was wondering, who's your guys' pick for tonight? Steph then replies, Cole, as my husband and I have already said before, this war is petty to us, and it doesn't matter. But as far as my pick, personally, I hope this war ends with both of them dead. As for why my husband and I are here, but before she can complete, we hear Stone Cold in the background. He just goes, "You son of a bitch!" And he rushes at Triple H, and the two just start to brawl in the hallway, slamming each other against the wall. We hear Stephanie screaming. Cole's getting out of the way. The two men start brawling all the way down to the catering room. They start using assortments of food against each other, throwing food at each other, all that stuff. They're slamming each other into the vending machines. Triple H, he tries escaping. He's throwing chairs behind him, trying to slow Austin down. Austin chases him, picks up a chair, catches up to Triple H, and just clocks him from behind with the chair. And they're now in the garage, the parking lot, whatever you want to call it. Austin slamming Triple H into that garage that lifts up. He then starts stomping the mud hole into him, sitting Triple H down. Then all of a sudden he lifts up the garage door and then slams it on top of Triple H. Triple H is now, in between the door and the floor pretty much, the ground. And Austin starts just picking up trash cans and tossing them at Triple H's ankle like Triple H did the Rhino and slammed the steel steps on his ankle. Tossing them at Triple H's ankle, screaming, "This is for Rhino! This is for Rhino!" Triple H, he finally, slides his way under the garage door and able to trying to escape. Austin catches up quick, of course, but Triple H managed to find a fire extinguisher somewhere and then sprays him with it. Austin now caught off a little bit, like what the, he just got sprayed with a fire extinguisher, so he's trying to rub it out of his eyes. We hear a car screech up. Stephanie's screaming, "Get in the car, Hunter, get in the car." Triple H gets in the car, but not before Stone Cold just smacks off the rear view mirror, one of them with a baseball bat. Of course, he's aiming for Triple H, but Triple H closes the door in time, so he smacks off that rear view mirror. Stephanie and Triple H, they speed off in their car, while Austin just stands there catching his breath, looking pissed off as usual. So I really like that segment, honestly, Nerds and Geeks. That segment's great. That's one of the things I was looking forward to, because I didn't plan on having Stone Cold and Triple H fight. They don't care about this war. They don't care about Vince McMahon versus Shane McMahon. They don't care about WWF versus WCW. All they care about is themselves. They're selfish pricks. And this whole feud has been centered around the WWF title, but now Triple H made it personal by going after Austin's protege. So Austin's pissed. And since I didn't have him on the show, I thought it'd be cool to have a big-ass brawl between the two with Austin just going after him. And obviously, the fans agreed, at least the two Total Extreme Wrestling fans, because they got an A-star. Cole wasn't rated, so that's probably why. But surprisingly here, Stephanie, of course, she has creative control, so she blocked it. So I had to let her go off script. And she didn't do well. Good job, Steph. Good job. Either way, Triple H looked good. Austin was the real star. Stephanie didn't, whatever, who cares. Gained heat. This brawl did good. I'm happy with this. Move on to our next segment. We go to another B match, solid B match, decent match. Test and Albert defeating the Natural Born Thrillers they are now the #1 contenders for the WWF Tag Team Championships in 13 minutes and 2 seconds after Test defeated Sean O'Haire with a pump handle slam. Not enough selling, unfortunately, but Albert had an in-ring performance of a B-. Test had a B, and Sean O'Haire and Chuck Palumbo had B-. So Test was a star in this match, and everybody else was not too bad. And that ends the Natural Born Thrillers storyline, with TNA now becoming the #1 contenders to the Undertaker and Kane's titles. Solid match. Another A-star. Hell yes. A-star, we have Vince McMahon. He's back in the office. He's looking at a list of names on paper when someone knocks on the door and he says, "Come in." And that's when Kurt Angle walks in and Vince says, "Oh my God, Kurt, what do you want?" "Mr. McMahon, all I want to do is make up for my past sin and show you that the WWF is my home. Remember on Raw when I told you that I could be backup in case anything happened? Well, I'm here, coach. Put me in." "Oh, no. Kurt, why would I put you in one of the most important matches ever when you've already turned on me once? Plus the fact that you somehow knew something was going to happen tonight makes you even more suspicious." Let me take a drink real quick. It's a bad idea doing that without this drink. Well, I can't argue with you there, Mr. McMahon, but I promise you, I had no idea anything was going to happen to Kane tonight. And I just know how WCW likes to operate. Come on, Mr. McMahon. Let me get my hands on Benoit and Flair. Give me a chance. I mean, what's your other choice, really, besides me? Yourself? Vincent stands there, he's angry, he's pissed, he's just frustrated, stressed. He finally just looks at Kurt and he says, "Damn it, Kurt, you're right. You better not backstab me, or I'll make you regret it," pretty much. Like I said, I'm ad-libbing now, but I'll make you regret it. And Kurt's like, "Yes, you won't regret it, Mr. McMahon. I'm going to win this war for us," or something like that. So Vince McMahon working the crowd. Well, of course, he went off script because Kurt likes to go off script. Kurt did his job, but Vince McMahon did well. A-star segment, and now we know that Kurt Angle is the final member of Team WF. We then go to our first match. That's not a solid B, but it's a B-, so it's not far off. B-, solid B-. About that had decent wrestling, but not much Wayne Heat. Rey Mysterio Jr. defeating Dean Malenko in 13 minutes and 23 seconds with a springboard hurricanrana, making his second defense of the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. I'm probably going to have to change this into the 619, but technically, I'd imagine him still doing it. It's the springboard hurricanrana that he, that gets set up with the 619 that he pins afterwards, so that's why I imagine it. Either way, Dean Malenko had an in-ring performance of a B- to Rey Mysterio's C+, so not too far off between the two. Still, not a bad match. Definitely a good match between someone who's a lower mid-card and a mid-card talent, but I'm satisfied. We then go to a B rating, and we just have a video package hyping up the Mick Foley Lord Steven Regal match, the upcoming hardcore match between the two, and the feud so far, how it's all started, with the commissioner angle and all that. Gained some heat for the storyline as well, some last-minute heat. We can all appreciate that. We then go on to the match, which gets a solid B rating. Hell yes, solid B rating. And about that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. Lord Steven Regal defeating Mick Foley in 17 minutes and 31 seconds after hitting the power of the punch. We had a lot of interference in this match. Mark Jindrak, Sean Stasiak, they get involved, start attacking Mick Foley. I'd imagine actually that's when Bubba Ray Dudley and Devon Dudley come out and start battling Sean Stasiak and Mark Jindrak. So despite it saying they attacked Regal, I'd imagine them not attacking Regal. They'd just go after Mark Jindrak and Sean Stasiak, which leads to enough time for Mr. Regal to, get the brass knucks in his hands and clock Foley with him. Maybe not exactly right then, but eventually gets the brass knucks, clocks Foley, 1, 2, 3. They're completely legal, and Lord Steven Regal beats Mick Foley in his specialty match. So Foley was visibly tiring towards the end, unfortunately, as was Regal, which kind of surprised me. I thought they would, have done their thing. Apparently, the match went on a little too long given its aim, but I'm okay with a B rating. Like, you ain't going to hear me complain about a B rating. It was a wild brawl match, so maybe that's why. I think it usually says about 15 minutes is good. Mick Foley had an in-ring performance of an A. Regal had a C+, so Foley kind of carried this match. But we also have a gimmick change. Foley didn't have a gimmick before. We're just giving him a fun babyface, and he got a great rating. Unfortunately, he lost. Mick Foley's improving in technical, and Regal's improving in performance. All in all, good match. We then go to an A-star, and this is before our big main event. And Vince McMahon, he's backstage with all the guys from Team WF. Rock, Jericho, Taker, Show, and the replacement for Kane, Kurt Angle, to everyone's surprise. And Vince, again, hold on. Let me take a drink, and we'll get on to this segment. Oh, yeah, that's good H2 Olga. Okay.
All right, guys. This is it. In just a few minutes, you 4 men will go out there and fight for your home. You 4 men will go out there and end this war. And you 4 men won't do it alone. He might not have been my first choice. Hell, he wasn't even on my list. But I'm taking a risk here, and I want you all to trust me.
And that's when Kurt Angle walks in, and everybody on Team WF, Rock, Jericho, Taker, Show, they're all upset. They're like, what the hell is he thinking? Questioning Vince's decision. They're even like, you know what? This makes sense. Kane gets taken out. Kurt comes on. He's Shane's inside guy. He was the guy the whole time. And Vince finally just goes,
shut up! Listen, damn it. You don't need to tell me about Kurt's past. But what other choice do we have? And I'll be honest. I believe Kurt, and I always have, since WCW tossed him to the side. I just wanted to make him work for it, earn that trust back. If you guys can trust Jericho, and if you guys can trust the Big Show, then you can trust Kurt Angle. This is bigger than you guys. The men and women in the back are counting on you 5. I'm counting on you 5. Losing SmackDown may not be the end of the WWF, but damn it may as well be the beginning. Tonight, not only do I want you to beat WCW, I want you to obliterate them.
And I'd imagine Team WF sitting there all, pumped up and down, jumping up and down, and we go on to it. We go to the announcers, they announce coming up next, our main event of the night. Taker was, his performance was good as well, so A-star segment, can't complain. We then, did I skip over it? It better not be the freaking main event. I will be so pissed if it's the main event. You don't understand how pissed I will be if that freaking video package is the main event on this show. Then again, it might get an A-star, so maybe I won't be that pissed. Either way, we go to a B rating, and if it is, I might have skipped it, but I have a feeling it, you know what, it definitely is, because it says next segment, and I didn't put in anything before it. We go to a B rating, solid B rating, I might add. Kind of upset this got a B. Come on, guys, you could have got an A. But I made this a spectacle, so I'd imagine people thinking. Either way, we have a bout that had superb wrestling and great heat. Team WCW Team WCW defeated Team WWF in 29 minutes and 34 seconds. Now, let's have some fun here. Let's look at our list, because this isn't really the elimination. I wrote up my own eliminations for this, and we'll get to that in a second. So it says Ron Simmons got eliminated first, then Jericho, then Page, then Taker, then Angle, then Big Show, then Flair, then Booker T, and then The Rock. So Benoit was the final member of Team WCW. That's not how it's going down. We'll get to that in a sec. Actually, you know what? Let's get to it now. So this is how I did it. This is how I would have booked it, and since this is my show, this is how it's being booked. So here's Team WF versus Team WCW, all the eliminations. So they got the one right. Ron Simmons was the first elimination after he was eliminated by The Rock after a rock bottom, but then The Rock is eliminated almost immediately by Diamond Dallas Page, who sneaks in the ring and surprises The Rock with a diamond cutter out of nowhere, getting the pinfall. So Rock was not the final person eliminated. In fact, he was the first person eliminated from Team WWF. Caught everybody off guard by eliminating the team captain, the People's Champion, and Diamond Cutter out of nowhere kind of plays it up, but DDP, being the one to get the elimination is definitely fitting. We then go to Diamond Dallas Page being eliminated by The Undertaker after a last ride. Then the WCW World Champions eliminated after Booker T taps out to Chris Jericho's Walls of Jericho, so Jericho adding insult to injury to Book. We then have Jericho eliminated by Ric Flair when Jericho taps out to the figure 4 leg lock. Flair is then eliminated by The Undertaker after a choke slam. We then have Undertaker eliminated by Benoit after Flair distracts the referee after arguing with him after he's finally woken up, saying, I wasn't eliminated, blah, 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 blah. That leads to Shane McMahon sliding in the Intercontinental Championship, and Chris Benoit decks The Undertaker with the Intercontinental Championship to get the pinfall, eliminating the dead man from the match. And now we have Chris Benoit alone against Big Show and Kurt Angle. And Big Show comes in. Kurt Angle, he's sitting there begging to be tagged in. Please tag me in. Kurt Angle hasn't been in the match the entire time, I'd like to imagine, asking to be tagged in. And then Show finally caves in and tags Kurt Angle in. Kurt quickly enters the ring, and him and Chris Benoit have a stare down. Chris Benoit is kind of exhausted because he's been wrestling a lot. He's, staring down, Kurt. Because I'd imagine that whole Ric Flair thing, it took a little while. Like, Benoit and Taker were fighting until Rick finally was woken up on the outside after he got rolled out when Taker kicked him out. And he starts arguing with the referee then. So that took a while. So Benoit's exhausted. Him and Kurt, they're staring each other down. Kurt's got a big smile on his face. He's all ready to beat him. And then Big Show grabs Kurt Angle by the arm, pulls him in, lifts him up for a huge choke slam, plants him down, drags him over to the corner, tags himself in, then laughs, walks out as the referee, or actually not, he laughs, picks Kurt Angle up again, choke slams him, then walks out of the ring while the referee counts 10, getting himself eliminated by countout. Benoit then scurries over to Kurt Angle, covers him for the pin. Kurt's knocked out after getting 2 choke slams. 1, 2, 3. Chris Benoit beats Kurt Angle again, and Shane McMahon and Team WCW win. And now Shane not only owns WCW, but he also owns Thursday night SmackDown. No longer a WWF property officially, it is WCW. And it turned out all along, Shane wasn't lying. There was a turncoat, and it was the Big Show. Once again, playing to Vince McMahon's loyalty, I guess. Thinking Regal was loyal and also thinking Big Show. Two guys that were also close to Vince McMahon are the ones that turned on him. And it just is fitting for it to be Kurt to get the one because everyone's thinking it's Kurt, and Kurt finally gets in the match, all ready to face off against Benoit, and then choke slam. Doesn't even get his opportunity to take on Rick or Benoit, really. So Undertaker apparently was really off his game. Come on, Taker. Got the crowd buzzing. Taker had an A star, despite being off his game. Got an A star. Big Show had a B plus. Kurt had an A. Jericho had an A. Rock had an A star. Ron Simmons had a B. That's impressive. Ric Flair had an A. Lots of A's tonight. Chris Benoit had an A. DDP had a B plus. Booker T had an A. Let me count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 10 competitors had A ratings. That's awesome. And of course, we have a bunch of segments moving on. Unfortunately, Jericho and Booker T apparently lost heat. Also, Jericho's improving in technical skills. And then we move on to, the video package. But like I said, it got an A rating, so I'm not complaining that much, I guess. End the show. We get a B plus as our final score. Show increased our popularity in 20 regions. And all in all, good show if you ask me. I was kind of hoping to get an A rating, maybe even an A star. But what can you do? Either way, still a really good show. And who do I want to congratulate tonight? And everyone really had pretty much, I don't want to say average. Average is like C. They had a good performance. Not a great performance, a good performance. So I think who I am going to give speeches to, for sure, is both Stone Cold and Triple H. I'm going to be, point them out as good examples. Is that fair, though? Because they weren't in a match. They were in an angle. And everybody else that was in an angle did good, too. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Chris Benoit, and I'm going to, I wish I can promise that, tell him that good things are going to be happening tonight. Well, we're not going to insult him at all. We are going to compliment Benoit on a good performance. We are going to let's tell The Rock, and we're going to point Rock and The Undertaker out as good examples because they both had A stars. So let's go ahead and make that speech. Out of curiosity, what are my past speeches? Kurt, Triple H, Austin, Rock, Taker, Austin. Okay. So let's go ahead and make our speech. Chris Benoit was pleased. Taker was definitely pleased. And I guess Rock was like, whatever, I don't really care. Screw you too, Rock. I just told everyone you were... make sure you follow Rock's lead. He is a great performer. Point him out as a great example. And everyone's like, man, fuck The Rock. Well, Rock's like, fuck you. I don't really care. So don't worry about this. This is just saying that our deal with Cablevision Canada and DirecTV has ended, but we knew that already. Scott Hudson has also moved on. We knew that as well. I believe Taka moved on as well. And inVasion is getting fantastic reviews. Feedback has been awesome. Heat also aired. And anything else to point out? Oh, look at that. Brother Devon's running. Sean Casey, gone from OVW. Oh, that's right. I never re-signed him. I totally forgot. My bad. I feel bad, dude. He's kind of promising. Can I negotiate with him again? Man, that sucks. I totally forgot. Whatever. I don't really care that much. Look at this. Most expected. He's going to be a breakout star. Cool for him. And that's pretty much it. So what do we have here? Sabu has left XPW, so wasn't he like the XPW champion? Did he ever lose the title? Yeah, he was the XPW world champion. He only made one defense. Hold on. Did he lose the title or not? What a douche. Well, he probably... Taka Michinoku has left. Scott Hudson has left, so that's good. ECCW has made a contract offer to RVD. Out of curiosity, I want to see if it's written. I don't think it is, but it's touring, so that's whatever. Not worried about that. Daniels has an offer. Tajiri has an offer. We finished that. Kurt Angle is not happy, and I agree. We have been booking him kind of, he's been the one taking a lot of losses, but it's the story of it. So he's mad. How he's been used, needs some success to regain some momentum. Don't worry, Kurt, we're going to get it. 1.74, I'm sure that's good, but I don't know much of it. Drug test fees. Lance Storm doesn't connect with the fans. He has little upside. This is from Test. I'm not taking your advice, Test. You're the last person I'm taking. You're overstepping your bounds, okay? I don't know what made you think that you're all of a sudden big guy on the street, but that's not how it's going. What are you mad about, Rick? Shut up. I don't know what the hell you're mad about. What is he mad about? Get over it. I don't know what he's mad about, but he's festering over something. What the hell is Val Venus mad? I wasn't on inVasion. Get over yourself. Either way, nerds and geeks, that's going to be the end of this episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I certainly have. My name's been OMGWTF, LWWBRB. Next time, we're going to be building up to a whole new pay-per-view. It's going to be the King of the Ring. I'm excited for it. I'm going to reveal the King of the Ring bracket to you guys on Monday Night Raw. But until then, hope you guys have a great day. And yeah, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.